Alright. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Internet. Once again, I have to apologize for having this take like forever and a half to record. I spent the weekend mostly just cleaning this apartment that I'm in, which is really great. Now I have a kitchen to use that actually functions, and I also have like a living space that doesn't make me just really sad when I look at it. And I've also posted a lot of signs informing roommates to clean their stuff so that hopefully it will remain clean, although, that might be hoping for a bit much. But anyways, on to the topic of classes. I'd have to say my favorite class for the semester is probably, well, it's kind of a little bit hard to tell because I do really like my freelancing class, which is um, basically on how to run yourself as a business, which is a really neat topic and it's kind of not something you think about all the time. And it's really valuable for what I'm going into, which is, of course, photography. You need to be able to run yourself as a business, be able to think about how you're using your time, and just manage yourself, which is something I've never been very good at, and I think this is really helping a lot. My photography foundations course is pretty neat in that, it is my area, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite, just because it's very foundational. Basically, I'm just taking it because it's required. I already pretty much know most of the stuff that we're talking about in there. We did talk a little bit more about how to use Lightroom properly, which I did think was valuable. Adobe Lightroom, which is basically a basic editing suite, and also mostly just for a file organization, which I've used in the past, but now I can actually use it properly. Hopefully from now on, I'll be able to organize and find all of my stuff, which is really valuable. So that's probably the best thing that came out of that class. My 2D design class has been very interesting, and that's what you referred to as my drawing class. It's not so much a drawing class. We do a lot of hand drawing in here, and I did get a few examples of it. We've basically done like these little 4x4 images a lot of the times. This is from a project we had called Imperatives, where we basically just used 3 shapes to convey different sort of ideas, which is pretty neat. We've done a lot of these kind of like abstract projectsy things, which have been interesting. Definitely outside of my wheelhouse, so a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but it's definitely been nice to think about sort of rules of composition. And I think that'll help me with my photography as well. So I can't say that this class hasn't been valuable. It has been, definitely, but it's been a bit challenging because it's not really something I do a lot. So there's been some hand drawing, but we do a lot of work in Adobe Illustrator as well, which is valuable to know how to use. Then I have a class called Introduction to Visual Culture, which is basically just about the way we see things in our culture. It's mostly focused on Western visual culture for obvious reasons, because that's just what we're most familiar with, but we do talk about other cultures as well, and just all the various issues that go into that. Alongside your feminism thing that you were talking about before, we did talk about the gaze, and especially the male gaze, and how that affects a lot of things in our visual culture, so to speak. It technically is an art history class, but it focuses more on content rather than sort of chronology. So instead of saying like this, now we're going to study art from the 1600s, it's more like now we're going to look at art that displays and exemplifies this particular idea. So I think that's definitely an interesting class. Definitely up there in my favorites. Probably that and freelancing have been just the most interesting ones. And then 2D design, a close second. I really have not disliked any of my classes, which is obviously, a good thing. And then I have an intro to marketing class, which is probably like the most boring of all my classes. Not to say that it isn't valuable in its way, but it's just not like super, super interesting. And it's kind of just talking about marketing stuff and demographics. And it's valuable information to know, and I think I might go for a marketing minor just so that I can have that sort of in my degree. But we'll see. So I think for our next topic, Samantha, we should probably talk about perhaps some kind of project we're working on, or a project we would like to work on, but I have not had the opportunity to do so yet. Whatever it may be, if it's like a writing series, if it's a photo set, if it's even if it's cleaning your bathroom. Just talk about it for a little bit, and then a few weeks later we'll do another video on how that project turned out, or however long it takes to do it. Pretty flexible, really. I don't have a super clear-cut idea of what I want to do, but that's kind of the fun. Just prodding myself to start thinking about getting stuff done in a bit of a more interesting way, and then we can talk about that. Um, yeah, so come up with something neat, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, Samantha.